Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
a General Hospital fan podcast.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the Port Charles 411. Today we are sharing our chat with danwhite, the actor who played Elijah.
Okay, I just never want to hear you yell at me about this interview, not talking that much, because you were totally on geek level with him. So I was not in the conversation.
I'm sorry.
Because I just don't go there the way that you do.
Did we even talk about General Hospital?
There was like a slight little blip, but that's okay. It was just so cute to see you geeking out together and hear his enthusiasm for your random knowledge that I did not know.
I still can't believe I said some of the things I did. But he knows my favorite movie, and like nobody does. So that made me really excited. But I mean, we've shared it before. We don't necessarily want to be, I mean, you can read, and there's nothing wrong with them, but we want to get to know the people. Right.
Yes.
We want to get to know them. And I think that we definitely succeeded.
Yes.
So we're really not going to talk about much more. Enjoy our chat with Dan, and we will be back.
Hi.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm excellent. How you feeling today?
All right. How about you?
I'm good.
I'm Shannon.
Hi, Shannon.
Amanda.
And Amanda, pleasure to meet you all. Thank you so much for having me today.
Of course. Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
We're really
on.
looking forward to. I was actually just thinking about it. I think he might be one of our first villains that we've talked to.
Yes.
I think we've always talked to the nice guys.
Oh, well, glad to hear that. Let's talk Dooney.
Well, no, we talked to Brad, and Brad's kind of villainish.
He had some redeeming qualities.
Well, so does Elijah.
Really? You have to tell me about those.
Oh, I'm stepping right into it today.
We don't just talk about General Hospital. We want to get to know you as a person too, and know what you've been up to, and
Great.
I know you're filming a lot right now too.
Yeah, I have had some great opportunities like that. I just did an upcoming show, American Auto, that's coming out on NBC. It's a comedy about the auto industry in Detroit, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I just wrapped on a film that I can't really talk too much about, but it's funny. I played an FBI agent on American Auto, and I worked with some FBI folks on this other film. So it's like I'm on the other side of the law when I'm not playing a lot. I played a lot of cops too.
Yeah.
Before the shady real estate developer, I literally had people coming up to me on the street asking me, was I police?
I could see that, just like because you were in Law and Order, the Menendez brothers one. You played OJ.
Yeah, that definitely was not a cop in that one.
No, but that at least was not the main focus of that story. And so that's football players. You have a wide range that you cover.
Thank you. Yeah, I try. Yeah.
So we just interviewed Hudson West, who plays he's one of the younger kids on the show. Mm-hmm. And he's 14.
Yeah.
Well, he played in the American Crime Story.
Okay.
About OJ Simpson. And I was like, oh my gosh, they were on the same one. I was like, no, you were on the Law and Order one, he was on the Menendez brother one.
Yeah.
That one's messed up. Watch that. But.
Yeah. I mean, and it's a trip because I live in the Valley. And I've taught at CSUN or at TSU Northridge, where, which was largely one of the epicenters of that earthquake. And, that the Van Nuys courthouse is not far from that. So there's a lot of history there, as well. And a lot of things shot there. And it's really an interesting space over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No. So what was it like doing stories like that? Because he's our age. He's in our bubble. She's a little bit older than me, but you're in our range. So what was it like doing I mean, I don't know how long you really, shot that, like, your part on the Menendez and everything, but like, what was it like to be part of a story because it's funny, we talk about these things. So when we talked with Hudson about the OJ Simpson, he's like, yeah, I think I had heard of it. And I'm like, it consumed our lives growing up. I mean, what was it like to kind of just be part of something like that, knowing that you knew about it so much growing up?
I mean, yeah, I mean, OJ Simpson, just as a Black person in America, OJ Simpson has meant so many different things. I remember, I mean, Roots was a little bit before me in terms of being able to watch it, but I remember that I did a report on it in high school, and the preview was like, and John Amos and all these actors, and then it said, and OJ Simpson. Anytime they do and a person at the end, it's like it's oh wow, there it is. Like, so it was really it was a trip to see this person go from someone who was like loved, first Black person to have a major campaign with Hertz. Oh, my cat was in my lap.
That's Cookie.
So I just
join us sometime.
I just finished a voiceover session, and she was all up in the mix. So I'm with Pebbles is my cat's name. What's your cat's name?
Cookie. She's our third host.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Right. So Pebbles might make a cameo, and it'll say and Pebbles like. So it was interesting to see that, and then go through that trial and be like, oh, that ain't the same dude. You know what I mean? Like, And I saw him in person at a family member's funeral several years afterwards, and it was interesting. It was just like that. The presence. It was like, whoa. And so then when I had to go study it, I'm listening to him. It was him talking about how he and Nicole planned their shopping at Christmas. And it was just very, it was just very, very much a family conversation. Like they picked the gifts and then I go pick them up. And then knowing what happened, it's just like, wow. So it was to suspend it's like, I really empathize with what being an impartial juror must look like, right? Because you put aside everything else and you try to just go based upon these various. The scene in that was he was in jail next to Lyle Menendez, and basically everybody's just like, like, can I have an autograph? And and so he's operating from this. He still thinks he's this revered person. He's still acting like, oh, I'm famous OJ, and everybody just falls over. And so to operate from that place of delusion really took having to step away from everything, we know. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is, I think is a fine acting lesson. You know what I mean? Because if we're to portray these characters in a way that's not completely one-dimensional, we have to find those moments that aren't what everybody thinks or how we perceive. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, and when we get back to Elijah, that we could talk about how that came there too. But certainly, that was an interesting challenge that I did not expect. Like literally just going back. I mean, just hearing him talk about how he and Nicole bought Christmas gifts and knowing what happened. You know what I mean? So it was a very much a learning experience in many ways.
I love hearing about that stuff, like the background, because I mean, he was in the Naked Gun movies, and he was actually, and as you were saying it, I realized that there's a second person. My all-time favorite movie is called Back to the Beach. It's Frankie Avalon and
Frankie Avalon, and I remember that.
You know it. Love you. Nobody knows it, but he makes a cameo at the very beginning because he's running through the LAX, and he's jumping over the suitcases, and the son is like, Mom, look. And then he falls. And he's like, oh, that must not have been him. But that was like at the height of OJ. Well, Lori Loughlin was in it too.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. And now I'm like, man, what's going on with my movie?
Yeah, you ever watch the new Space Jam? And here
I have been told not to.
But no. Just when you watch the old, because when I watched the new one, because I have a 7-year-old, so we got ready to watch the new one, but of course we had to watch the old one.
Yep.
And the first song came on was "I Believe I Can Fly."
Yeah.
Knowing what we know now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's really a trip to revisit some of the things you loved and have to look at them through that different lens. I used to, when I was a kid, because I was a running back in high school and college.
Okay.
So I used to enjoy running through the airport and doing that, like I saw that in that commercial. I know exactly what you mean. But so he fell and in the movie, and then what?
Yep. And so the kid was like, Mom, look. And she was like, what, honey? And he fell over and so obviously it was not him because he fell, so, but that was it. Oh, and then Frankie Avalon stepped on his hand and he's like, oops, sorry. And that was it.
Oh, wow.
But, oh yeah, I forgot about Space Jam and R. Kelly. Man, why are we ruining our childhood?
Yeah, my bad. My bad.
No.
I totally could have just let that occur to you later, but yeah.
No, I mean, that's absolutely accurate though. There's things that we grew up with loving that now we're finding out. We could have an entire show about how the 80s and 90s are being ruined right now.
They had a meme, and it was like Felicia Rashad and Maya Rashad get married, and then their groomsmen were like OJ and Bill Cosby, and it said worst groomsmen ever.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Oh man.
Anyway.
All right. Well, on to bigger and better things. So you start now that I just totally geeked out on the 80s and 90s.
Yes, you were so cute. I just like how excited you get.
You keep it coming, sister, because that's what I like, 80s and 90s.
She's the queen of trivia. So anything that you want to talk about that relates to the 80s or 90s, she's seen it or she knows who sang it or whatever. And I don't. So we have interesting conversations where she yells at me, I can't believe you don't know that. I'm like, I'm sorry.
And now I have your fiance on my side, so you're screwed.
I am screwed. So, back to like normal questions. What made you get into acting?
Okay, so two ways. I've always said it when I like since before I can remember. So that is the actual truth, right? Ruby Dee and Ossie Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
They were like the Will and Jada of Black cinema for decades. Ruby Dee was nominated for the Oscar in 2007, playing Denzel's mom in American Gangster. But the W.C. Handy story was one of the first films, and that was from like 1956, starring Nat King Cole.
Okay.
Ruby Dee and Ossie Davis walked up on my dad and myself in Central Park when I was like 3 and asked me to be in commercials. And my dad said no. And it must have made an impression because I've been saying I want to be an actor since then, according to the adults. Now, my first like professional audition was it was a long time ago. It was summer of 7th grade, and I was a show on Christian Broadcast Network called Big Brother Jake. And it was Jake Steinfeld, who was if you ever see Coming to America.
Yes.
Murphy gets on the airport and he walks in front of the cab and he says, halt. And Jake Steinfeld gets out and he says something that's very not Christian Broadcast Network to him. And so long story short, that was when I was like 12. Like I did a school play and I was like, and then they had some films, and it was a movie called Toy Soldiers that I almost got when I was 12 years old. And that was with Sean Astin, Lou Gossett Jr. And it was about this kid that went to a boarding school. This boarding school got hijacked by terrorists. And I went to a very similar boarding school called St. Albans in Washington, D.C. And it's where a lot of the politicians, like Al Gore went there, like Dan Quayle's son Ben was there, who later was in Congress, and Jesse Jackson Jr. A lot of these folks were there when I was there. So it was just like St. Albans, this thing. And I came very close, and I really wanted to do it after that. Then I played football, and I played black belt in Taekwondo when I got into sports. And that was through high school and college. And then I came out here to Cal Arts, which is, one of the premier drama schools, started as an animation program. I said long story shorter, but it's still long. But we're
going to have a bunch of questions about that too. So just keep going.
Okay, cool. So, but anyway, so after, like, I was a journalism major in college, and I went to a job fair, and it was for broadcasting, like I did radio and did things, and I just I had a typo on my resume. Now, if you know me, typos make me very upset, right? Viscerally so. And I just didn't care. And I said, and I went home and I told my mom, I'm like, yo, mom. And I don't know if I said, yo, mom, but I was like, that was the spirit that I had. I'm like, I'm graduating with this major, but I'm not feeling it. And she said, there's something you're not telling yourself. And I said, I want to be an actor. And I was afraid to go for it because it's hard and it's scary. And, but I realized, and that was when I really said I wanted to really go for it. When I was like a senior in college, I said, I'm not going to have a backup plan. I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to go to school for it. And I'm going to really put all my eggs, have enough confidence in myself to put all my eggs in my basket. That was a very scary decision. I've had flashes of it for many years. Right. But to make the decision for it to be what I want to do for the rest of my life came as a senior in college.
Wow. Yeah.
So.
My son just went to college for animation.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. I was going to be like,
what's your So animation, very cool. In what sense?
He wants to do arts and animation. He's going to Edinburgh. We're in Pittsburgh, so it's only about 2 hours away.
Okay.
He's always hand drawn. He hasn't done anything computer wise yet. And I think that's his biggest holdup because he's like, well, I don't know these computer programs. I'm like, yes, you're going to have to learn those, but you still have to know how to do it by hand and everything. But he's also been into robotics. He's also into like all these things. And part of me is like, we say we're going to see his name at the end of the credits one day, like with Pixar or something. And there's just something in me that I'm like, I feel like he's probably still going to do it because the kid's been drawing nonstop since he picked up a pencil. But it's not too often that you hear someone else having gone to school for that. So that's why I was like, it's nice to hear, a success story come from it. I mean, obviously there's thousands of them because we have how many cartoons, but it's a tough industry to be in.
Well, yeah. I mean, and first and foremost, I just give you your props as a mom, Shannon, because, to raise an artist is a scary thing.
It is.
I mean, certainty is not one of the selling points of a career in art. And and it has to be something that's in you. And you have to really have to have faith and faith in yourself and the job that you've done to know that it's going to work. You know what I'm saying?
I think that a lot. So I have 2 business degrees and I'm now in real estate. So we can talk about your disgrace to that profession in a minute. I brought in some
I can't wait. With the technical, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it.
I can't remember the exact, but I'm like, that is not how that works. Especially since we're in Pennsylvania. So that's where Nixon Falls is. And I'm like, that's not how it's done in Pennsylvania. But I told him, because I went through layoffs, and that's just where the economy wound up bringing us. My undergrad was in marketing and I graduated before social media. So
different scenario with marketing now.
Exactly. I said, I'm like, honey, my degree was completely irrelevant within 5 years of my graduating because of the technology and the changes. I was like, so you just have to be able to adapt and stuff like that and know when, and also just follow just because you have a dream. Like what you said, you played football, you had a black belt and all that in high school. So you were also in plays. So you were still kind of dipping in both, but
that came to a halt in college.
Okay. Mine was going.
I saw you instantly light up whenever he said
it. It's where his joy is.
Yeah. And don't be scared to change it. You wind up, I never in a million years would have guessed that I'd be sitting on a couch with one of my best friends talking about General Hospital for almost 3 years.
Wow.
Doing a podcast. No, you can't be scared of the changes. So
that's right. That's absolutely true. Yeah. For him to have so much proficiency in so many different areas is a testament to you, to the parents. And I just want, that's really a wonderful thing. And if that's what he wants, that's his joy. That's where his happiness is going to be. Like I tried to act like I was going to quit maybe about 11 years ago. Like I hadn't been in class and I had worked, but I hadn't had a show in a long time. And I went to a master acting class and I did not feel like I was a master at all. And I literally went behind, there was a kookaroo. This is how long ago it was. And we were on a break. We went to lunch. I went behind the dumpster at kookaroo and I started crying. I said, for me to get back to where I can get back to where I can start working again, I'm going to have to do so much work. And I said, is it the time for me to let this go? I don't care how much money I made doing anything else. I just wouldn't be happy.
Yeah.
And part of me would die if I quit. So I'm like, and that is, and that's how artists, I really see that with artists. Like, yeah, we'll take the lumps, we'll take the L's. But the reward is not only is the reward the trappings of being on TV or film or what have you. Of course, there's that, but there's a joy in life that I only have when I am performing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if a musician really nails a piece, and they can, like, somebody sits down at the piano and they close their eyes and they play the whole song, and then it's like I'm doing when I'm doing General Hospital, or if I'm doing Shakespeare or what have you, like when you nail it, when you feel like you really got it and you can really play and have fun, there's just no other, there's just nothing like it to an actor. And I'm thankful that I found something that gives me hi.
Cookie, say hi to Dan.
Cookie. I'm just very, very thankful, very grateful that I have something that I can work on that gives me that reward.
So you said that your parents weren't really, obviously you were 3, so I get that. But how did they become supportive? The one thing that I have told him, I'm like, and I say it to you all the time. I say it to other people. I'm like, I don't understand 90% of what he's telling me. I'm like, but you're exactly right. Seeing him talk about it, I'm just like, it melts your heart.
Yeah. How
did your parents best support you through school and then changing? Like you said, you had that conversation with your mom. Mm-hmm. How do they still support you? How did they support you in that change and everything and through building your career?
Yeah. They just first of all, just showing up, that's such a huge part of it. I was raised by, so my mom remarried. So I was raised by my stepfather, who I don't ever use the word stepfather. He's my dad, but I was raised by them. And they just had to see that I could do it. I played the plant in a Little Shop.
Okay.
I think that was a big turning point. I'm sure my mom says when I first, I didn't know he could sing until I saw him as one of the leads in this play.
Yeah.
And then, my voice changed because my voice was very, very, very high. Like I sound like I used to be, you're an 80s person. So, El DeBarge and them, like, my voice used to be high like that. And then when I was 12, it got pretty much close to where it is now. So coming into that, when I put those things together, I got out of drama school and I booked the job. I sang the theme song and I did the teachers and break for what was the #1 show on MTV for like 5 years. There's a show called Pimp My Ride.
I read everyone's IMDb's, and I wanted to talk about that because I missed that show.
Yeah, it was a great show. I miss it too. Yeah, but the point of all that is they were supportive, and then they became more supportive, and they became more supportive because there were these milestones. They were like, oh, you can do that. Oh, you can do that. I see what you're saying. You know what I mean? But again, the conversation with my mom, and she she's always saying, well, I wasn't a stage mom. But my parents are both physicians. So, they weren't really gung-ho about it, but they never tried to dissuade me from it. But then, the harder I worked and said, hey, look, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, they just came on more and more and more on board, and I think one of the biggest rewards of General Hospital is the fact that my parents had such joy about it. But they said, and it wasn't, they said, oh, we're not surprised that it happened. And that was great. But then they said, but you've been working so hard for so long. Mm-hmm. So that was really one of the biggest rewards of it, because I have, and I don't be telling people, oh, I went to drama school and I was in acting class. I've been in acting class for 18 years. I don't tell people that because it's just what you do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But it's like I really appreciated that. And I think that was one of the, recently, that was one of the biggest rewards support wise from my folks. It's just like, oh, well, yeah, this is what you want. And this is what you dedicated your life to. And they're proud that I did that, So they've always been supportive, but I mean, those are some of the different ways. Being there, encouraging me to go for it, encouraging me not to quit, being happy and taking pride in hard work. Those are the things that you always love. Those are the gifts that you always appreciate from your parents. Mm-hmm. And I've just been taking notes because I we have a 7-year-old daughter, and I just try to encourage her in every way I can, and just love on her and let her know, hey, go for it. You can do whatever you want to do. So, yeah.
My husband's technically my kid's stepdad, and Amanda's fiance will be her kid. So, but we say the same thing. We're like, we don't really use the phrase step because it's just, my kids we've been married now for 10 years. We've been together for 12. So they used to just call him bonus dad,
nice.
And it's because they still see their dad, but that's who he is to them. And yeah. I'm not going to correct that. It's like, no, that's who that is to him. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that look between y'all, and so that's awesome.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say when you finally, or when you got on General Hospital, that your parents were going to say, oh, you're finally a doctor, or why aren't you a doctor?
Oh, that's what, no, they did say that, but that was on Young and the Restless.
Gotcha.
I played a doctor on Young and the Restless for like a day. Which was awesome. I was very grateful for that credit, and everything like that. But we did have that moment. We did have that joke.
Yeah.
Has your daughter said anything about acting?
Yes. She in terms of does she want to do it, or her thoughts on it, or what?
All of it.
She likes to. She actually has joined me on stage.
Aww.
Yeah. Well, I sang at the jazz club here, the Tellos, which is in Studio City area, and we had.
Is that where Robert Blake went to dinner?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
You be knowing things.
I told you, she knows the most random stuff.
That's where Robert Blake and Bonnie Lee Blakely had their last meal.
Yeah.
And he left his gun in the booth so that he didn't kill her.
Yeah. Mm.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's a whole other.
It is. Yeah. So it's an iconic spot.
Yes.
Yeah. So she performed with me when I performed there. She came up and sang. It was fun. So she says she wants to sing, and which is cool. And I want her to. She's in second grade, so we'll see what happens. But she says she wants to do it, and everything. So I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna. I got a couple of things I want to do with her first, and then we'll get it going. So yeah.
What did you sing?
We sang "Outstanding" by the Gap Band.
I don't know that song.
Okay, it's a dope.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
That's very gutsy. And 7.
Yeah.
She was 5 at the time too.
Oh my gosh.
This is pre-COVID. Yeah, it was.
Or they should. That's before they learn that they should be scared.
Right.
Oh, she was scared.
Yeah.
She was scared. No, because I remember I was because I do this little piece where I said, is there somebody in the audience that wants to sing with me? And I looked over at her, and I mean, she is clinging to her mom like that. And I'm like, and I did it. I didn't do it that obviously, just like I did it now, but like I did it covertly.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked again. I came back. I was singing over here, and I looked back, and she was gone. I was like, oh, she's coming. And then I saw them bringing her up on stage. I'm like, all right, here we go. So yeah, it was something. She's a wonderful, wonderful child. Like way more courageous, way more outgoing, way stronger than I was. And it's just like I don't want to be corny, but like if they'd given me a list of qualities I wanted my daughter or my child, period, to have, she really just embodies all of them. And I'm just so blessed. We're so blessed.
Oh, she sounds special.
She is. She's in school right now.
I love when dads brag about their daughters.
That's
it's so cute.
Yeah. So yeah.
What else? Go ahead.
So how did you get to General Hospital?
Okay. It took 18 years. It did. I ain't lying. It took 18 years.
Had you
So
auditioned before?
I got many times.
Okay.
That's why it took 18 years. It was the 5th time that I was up for a major role. Oh,
Why'd you keep going back?
I'm lying. It was 4. The first one was All My Children.
Oh, okay.
It was no, not All My Children. One Life to Live.
It's okay. Yeah. They're all coming to General Hospital anyways.
All right. So check it. So it was,
okay.
I got out of school. I had an audition. I graduated. No, I hadn't even read. I was graduating Saturday. I got an audition for One Life to Live Wednesday for a contract role. Mark Cheshner, who cast me this time, he was like, come back Friday. I didn't get it. And then a couple years later, they had a recurring on General Hospital. I mean, a contract General Hospital. I had 4 auditions for that. 4 auditions for that role. And when I went into the last one, there was 5 of us. And we were all built exactly the same and just united colors of Benetton. It was like there was somebody representing everybody. Okay. And then they didn't go with any of us and they went with an older dude.
So what year was that?
That was 2007. Then 2010, another time. I'm not going to go through all 5 auditions.
I want to know do you know who you were auditioning for? Like who?
I don't. Like part of actor survival is forgetting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So there was that one. And then there was another one a few years later.
Okay.
And didn't get that one. And all of these were like 3-4 auditions. So it's like, you do the first one, okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, okay, cool. The third one is like, all right. But it's only not but so many people left, only a couple people. And then so it's it's hard when you don't get it. You know what I mean? And then COVID. And then this one came about, and this was only supposed to be for 2 episodes. And what happened, I ended up not going in, self-tape. So,
jeez,
it was, but and I had never booked off a self-tape. Well, maybe a long time ago, but I don't remember. But the point is, I went in and did the self-tape. It was just one audition, and the audition was due Thursday. We got it Tuesday. I turned it in Wednesday. I forgot about it. And then I got a message on that weekend saying, all right, here's some information. I got an email from my agent, and she was like, yo, you're back. And I was like, huh? And she's like, you booked it. And so it was only one audition via self-tape. And I feel like the universe came back and said, all right, I know you went through it. Here, you just have one and you don't have to go back, because the nerves go up each time when you go back too. So I didn't have to deal with all that. I just went, taped it, and they said, all right, it's 2 episodes, maybe more. My acting coach's name her name is Gloria Gifford. And she actually, she's had an incredible Broadway film, television career. So she's done all this stuff. And she did a bunch of soaps back in New York back in the day. And she's a big General Hospital fan. So she knew the tone. So I coached on that audition, booked it. We got 2 episodes. And then every week they just kept on calling. Can we hold 2 dates next week? Can we hold 3 dates next week? And it just kept going and kept going and kept going. And that was the process to get there. And it was just wonderful because like I remember driving onto that lot, Prospect Studios in Silver Lake, and I like for the first several times, I just had to like remind myself that I could relax because I'm here for work. I ain't here to audition this time. I'm here to get this work. Now I'm worried about the lines, but it's still like, we can talk about that. The line situation is, it's a lot, you know what I'm saying? And it's certainly a challenge, and it really separates the varsity from the JV in terms of being an actor, because you still have auditions too, but you get 20, 30 pages. And it's just like, I liken it. I'm like, there's any number of actors who could nail it. Right. But that number starts to dwindle when it becomes how quickly can you nail it? So it's like, when you get married, Amanda, you said you're getting married, right? Mm-hmm. So say your piano player drops out the day before and you need somebody to play. You gonna hire a professional, and a professional is not gonna say, well, I got to look at this for a couple of days. I need like a week, and then I can play the wedding march, and then we'll be fine. Like, right. No, I need you to play it right now. So I think that's what separates the professionals from, the almost professionals in this field. And this has been a great opportunity to find out. I mean, not to find out, but to know that I could perform at that level,
That's a really good analogy, because we hear it all the time, how quickly they have to memorize new material at the end of the day for the next day, and that's a lot to remember. And I would imagine, people that have been around. So like one of your scene partners was Mauricebenard, he knows his character inside and out,
Sure.
But what was that like going? Who was your first scene partner? It was Phyllis and Lenny?
First scene partner were Joyce Guy and Riff Hutton, Phyllis and Lenny. Second scene partners, Maurice. So we taped those 2 episodes back to back, which was a trip because the call time was 6 a.m. I was done at like 10:45. I didn't even know what to do with myself. I'm like, wait, we're done? And that was the pacing, which we could talk about. I mean, I'm quite sure I'm not the first person to talk about pacing of a soap opera, but it's we rolled, and it was great. It was great. Lisa Booth. So it was Lisa and Mark. The casting directors, Lisa Booth and Mark Teschner. And Lisa was like, when we working with these wonderful actors, Joyce Guy, Riff Hutton. And then that's exactly right. And it turned out Joyce went to Hampton University. I did, and I grew up in Hampton, like from 6th grade to college. And so she knew people my mom knew. It was really small world. And then my singing coach, and they're really good friends. And so I felt at home immediately. Mm-hmm. And it was just great. And then Riff was great too. And it was, we stepped right in and we rolled, and so that familiarity helped because the character, the characters knew each other and had a history. So that was great. And then with Maurice, he's playing Mike. He wasn't playing Sonny, which probably worked in my favor because Sonny. Everybody's known Sonny for decades, right? And that's not who I was dealing with. So, had Elijah come at Sonny the way he came at Mike, we probably wouldn't have been on in 19 episodes because he probably been dead, right? But so I really got an opportunity, got to play. And then there was one scene where we blew up and we were about to come to blows. That was completely improv. It was only 2 lines. It was like, I know something about you. What do you know about me? And then Phyllis was there. So it was like, he was like, all right, I'm going to come at you. Because he was behind the bar. And he decided, and so we were blocking the scene. He came around and got directly up in my face. He said, all right, I'm going to go a little Sonny on you. When I go Sonny on you, things go bad. I was like, oh, all right. And so then, was it Fido? I think Fido was directing that day. And Fido was like, he's like, and go right back at him. And I said, okay. And so he got up and and it was like, my Taekwondo, and then I boxed for 20 years. And so, especially in boxing, when somebody comes into no man's land, somebody starts closing distance. It's like, oh, wait a minute. And so when he came around the bar, I was like, what are you coming toward me right now? And that just kicked in, and it just built. And it was fantastic. And I felt comfortable playing with him, and I could tell that he enjoyed the back and forth as well. And
he must have really trusted you to do that. I mean, I don't know, but I would just think, especially having his history, and he must have really trusted you to play off of him like that it was going to work out.
Yes. Look who came to say hello.
Oh, hi, Pebbles. Oh, hi.
Hi.
Does Pebbles have a voice too? Cookie has a voice. I have a Cookie voice. Like Cookie.
Like what?
I voice over Cookie.
No. I'm trying. No. That's not a look of judgment. That's a look of, think about that.
Because you kind of just did. You were like,
I was like, I do a little bit. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. It is.
Cookie does voiceovers around the house. I narrate. Okay.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I like to do that. I like to do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. It's funny. It's funny that you mentioned that. Because I sometimes I'll put food down. So if it's not pate and it's soft, it just doesn't work. So sometimes I'll put the food down, and then I'll hear Morgan Freeman's voice and be like, and then watch Pebbles not eat a daggone thing. Anyway.
Well, Cookie's technically my daughter's cat. So,
okay.
Like if her food is running low, I'm like, Mommy, did you feed me?
Nice.
So, okay, we can get back to GH.
Y'all didn't tell me this is going to be so much fun. I didn't know.
We try.
You succeed.
Thank you. We like to get the story no one else is going to get. We don't care about the drama. We want to know what your pet voice is.
Exactly. But how many people interviewed his cat? Okay. So we got the best interview.
Well, and then you did a lot with Nina too, cynthiawatros. And then, I mean, you have a lot of potential to come back. It's.
Yeah, I'm not dead.
No. Yeah, even if you were, you could still come back.
Exactly. A couple times.
I could have and it's funny because people are like, oh, you could have an evil twin. No, I would have been an evil twin. I could have a good twin,
Well, and then what happens? What are your thoughts about Elijah? Like, what do you think could happen in his future? Do you know that Lenny died?
Yeah, I was hoping they'd bring me back so I could apologize.
Oh, you should at least get or you could at least get the note in prison and have that be like your redemptive story starting, where you're like, oh man, I really messed up.
Yeah, I mean, that would be cool. I mean, though playing a villain was fun. You know what I'm saying?
I don't see them changing the storyline like that. He's going to come out of prison being more of a jerk, trying to take advantage of the fact that he's gone.
I'm in jail with a major axe to grind.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it could be so. It could be so many different things. I still don't know who. We still don't know who I was working for.
Right.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, what if you actually know who Sonny is, but you just didn't put the face? You didn't know the face.
That's what I was saying. I was like, what if I was actually there doing all that for Sonny, but Sonny didn't know because he lost his memory? What if I actually was working for Sonny the whole time?
Mm-hmm. And you were just working through like some intermediary, so you didn't know you were.
I didn't know the boss. I didn't know I was working for. I just knew who. Yeah, I mean, it's totally possible.
Anything's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could. Let me see if I can pull this up. So here's why it's fun playing a villain, because I get to like make these faces that you only get to make on soap operas. What am I talking about? I get to be like,
yeah.
That's a lot of fun for me. That was a lot of fun. I'm trying to show you something. Hang on.
I make those faces with my kids all the time. What are you talking about?
Why do you keep on knowing what I'm about to say? Watch this. Now you know what's coming. Okay. All right.
So explain to us what you just showed us in the video for the listeners.
All right. Wait. Okay. So
That is
for
priceless.
those of you who are not seeing the foolishness I just showed these wonderful ladies, I was saying I enjoy going from a like really big smile to like it's the two drama faces. So you come from a big smile and then you look real mad. So I produced a video of my child doing the exact same thing as a baby. And I guess the shade runs in the family. So
She's got it down. Oh, you better watch out. She's going to get that even worse when she's a teenager.
Oh, yeah.
oh Lord, don't remind.
Yeah, sorry.
Enjoy it now.
It's cute.
We just go to Sky Zone and we jump and we play Roblox, and that's where we're gonna be for a while.
Oh, we love Sky Zone. We have one here too.
Mm-hmm.
Sky Zone is the jam.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have anyone that plays Roblox.
No.
Oh, geez. You're so lucky. You don't waste money on Robux all the time.
So I know that we have a time schedule to keep to. So we don't want to keep you, but I don't know.
Your information for where people can look you up, find you, new stuff you want to promote, anything.
Yes. So American Auto, watch that. It's on NBC.
Is that gonna be like a series or is it just like a limited series?
It's a series. I'm just appearing on it in the beginning. And then I have a film coming out, but I can't say it just yet.
Okay.
And yeah, so if y'all will have me back, I can announce it. Would that be cool?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Very cool.
I don't feel like we covered enough. So
Well, we can totally come. Well, like I would like to cover more. I'm at that danwhite on Instagram at THATDANWHITE.
well, thank you so much for your time. This was a blast.
Oh, as Shannon and Amanda, I had so much fun. I really appreciate y'all. And we certainly covered a wonderful gamut of topics.
Well, thank you again so much for your time, and we'll definitely talk again soon.
Yes. Thank
That's fantastic. Thank you, ladies. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
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 I know that we say it all the time, but honest, I think I've laughed the most during this interview.
My favorite part was the look on his face trying to come up with the answer to you about does your cat have a voice? Because you could see he understood, but his brain was still like, wait, what? So that was my favorite. I mean, I enjoyed all of it. Yes. And
when Cookie says hi to you,
Yes,
voice
Shannon
over
does. Every time I walk in, I say hi, Cookie, and Shannon responds with, hi, Amanda. So it's very cute. But that was my favorite just because you could see on his face he got it, but his brain was still like, what? This question does not make sense. So
my favorite was correlating that he had this beautiful moment with his daughter, and I ruined it by saying, oh, isn't that where Robert Blake had dinner right before his wife died? I mean, that was Robert Blake's alibi, was that he left his gun in the booth and was going back to get it. Therefore, he could not have been the one to shoot her.
absolutely.
Because his gun was in the booth.
Yep. I got
at this restaurant.
There you go.
But but I love the fact that he was still able to bounce back and share the story with us.
Oh yeah, we
and
were all over the place and he was still spot on.
Oh, that was so much fun. Okay, so we need Elijah back. We still didn't really get to talk about General Hospital.
No, the story of how he got on General Hospital and the persistence to get there, that was sweet. I liked that.
Me too. And just like hearing about how his parents supported him and how many different, because I mean, I'm sorry, stereotypically, the football jock, athlete, taekwondo, black belt.
Right, is not encouraged to go into acting.
Right. And we didn't even get into his singing.
Right.
He sings. And then I think that it really helps that he's about our age. So, of course, we're talking about Space Jams and Pimp My Ride and stuff like that. Because that was an awesome. Did you ever watch Pimp My Ride on MTV?
I did.
Wasn't that a great show?
That was a great show.
I saw that on his IMDb and I'm like, oh, we are going to talk about this. But yeah, I mean, he's a great guy. So we can't wait to have Dan back and share. I mean,
who knows what we'll share next time? Because this was not planned.
We might talk about that movie that he was talking about. Who knows?
Right.
But definitely check him out. I don't even know. I mean, he's been in a lot of different things and he's a great guy. So he's absolutely nothing like Elijah, which is
very good.
Very, very good. We don't want to interview Elijah. Well,
I kind of do because we didn't talk about that still. Although I kind of said basically everything you did was illegal.
Right.
Yeah, that's not how real estate works, but okay. He wasn't really caring so much about the up and up with that either, though. So that's okay. Maybe not everything, but whatever. Okay, so that was fun. Join us on Monday as we recap this week's shows.
Have a good weekend.
And we'll meet you at the pier.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to pier54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review.
And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Pier 54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at pier54podcast@gmail.com.